Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Excited to spend a few minutes with you this morning talking about irreconcilable differences. Irreconcilable differences and how to overcome them. As you guys know, as I've mentioned a couple of times, I'm kind of on a Stephen Covey kick, author of the famous book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and reading through a lot of his materials, and gosh, just so wonderful. The principles, and the tactics and lessons that he shares are just so foundational, so fundamental. They're just blowing my mind. One of the things that as I was exercising this morning, that I was listening to, that really caught my attention is there was a panel, a discussionary panel, with Stephen Covey and his wife and his brother and his brother's wife. And one of the questions actually came from an attorney. And the attorney introduced himself and says, I'm an attorney and live in California. And the state of California defines divorce under these terms of irreconcilable differences. And many states have that. And you see that in the news all the time where, you know, some popular celebrity or movie star, you know, they announce their divorce from their spouse, and the documentation in the court order, whatever the legal thing is they cite the reason for the divorce is irreconcilable differences. And that's such a funny, interesting term. It sounds like the connotation is that the only way that we are going to have success in business, in our business and partnering with our clients, is if we don't have any differences at all. Or if the only way that we can have a successful marriage is if we don't have any differences at all. But if we have differences, and if those differences are irreconcilable, we can't merge them together. We can't figure out a good way to make those differences work together. Then we have to divorce our clients. We have to divorce our spouses. We have to divorce our kids. If we just have these differences and they are irreconcilable, then it's all over. And it's so what this attorney in the discussionary panel asked the question, so how, what do you do? How do you make it last? And I think he cited some statistic. He said, like, for example, marriages, for example, that have a tendency to stand the test of time, couples that have been married for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, whatever the case might be. He cited a statistic that those marriages, for example, have at least 7 irreconcilable differences. Wait a minute. You're telling me that couples who've been married for 60, 70, 80, 100 years, whatever the case might be, they have no less than 7 irreconcilable differences? But then other marriages that dissolve in divorce, that they cite the reason for their divorce as having irreconcilable differences. That's crazy. You mean to tell me you can have a successful marriage, and I'm applying this also to business. If you're the customer that you're working with, how they want to partner with you in your business, and how you as a business owner want to partner with them, if those are fundamentally different and you've got some significant differences, are you telling me that you can still have a very effective client, buyer-seller client partnership in business, despite the fact that you've got significant differences? Even if they're irreconcilable differences, you can still have a great partnership and you can still have a great marriage? The answer is yes. So this attorney's question was, how do you do that? How do you reconcile irreconcilable differences in business, and I'm applying this to business, of course. And what Stephen Covey said was pretty powerful. And he said, look to a common vision. Look to a principle or a mission or a purpose that's greater than the sum of the individual parts. And he, using an analogy back to marriage, he said, the well-being of the children might be a vision or a purpose or a mission that helps a married couple overcome some of these differences, work together in a collaborative way for the mutual benefit of the kids, for example. In business, with as we're serving our clients, if there's some fundamental differences between, what the customer needs or how they operate versus what we do and what we need out of a business partnership, we might look to the mutual benefit of supporting each other's business financially, or something along those lines. But he called out this idea of looking to the greater good, looking to a vision or a purpose or a mission that stands supreme and stands above the individual agendas or the individual differences of each party. And I think in business, as business owners, as marketers, as salespeople, as customer service representatives, that's a smart thing for us to remember and think about. It's easy for us to get frustrated with the things that our customers are doing, or it's easy for our customers to get frustrated with the things that we are doing. But if we look to a greater purpose, a greater vision, than just our own needs or just our own agenda, or judging and criticizing the work of another, if we look to something greater good and we work towards that mutually together, then we have an opportunity to overcome some of these crazy, irreconcilable differences that cause really fantastic business partnerships to dissolve, that cause marriages to dissolve, that cause organizations to dissolve. So I think one of the things that it's smart for us to look at is, what is the third alternative? Oftentimes if in work, if there's an employee that is struggling to do their job effectively and they're frustrated with some things, there's an employer who's frustrated with a particular employee and they're not doing some things that are correct. Oftentimes it's, either shape up or ship out. Either you do it my way or the way, or you leave the company or you're fired. Or the employee says, I feel like my hands are tied and you are this and you are that, or the organization's this or the organization's that, and either you guys change or I'm out of here, right? We've kind of got this A-B thing. If, this way or that way, black, white, right, wrong, my way, your way, one of two kind of divergent areas. And one of the things that Stephen Covey talks about is this principle of synergy, this idea of a third alternative, a third option. Instead of you leaving the company or you shaping up and doing things my way, what if there's a third alternative? What if there's an opportunity to maybe reassign you to a different role inside the company? What if there's an opportunity to reassign you to a different manager? In a client relationship, instead of, when there's frustration on either side, instead of black, white, your fault, my fault, we're working together or we're not working together, what about a third alternative? What about a referral partnership? What about they work with a different company, but you get a referral fee for referring them somewhere else? There's still financial mutual benefit. So I think one of the key takeaways that I think we need to think about as trailblazers in business, whether we're in sales or marketing or customer service or managers or leaders of any kind, is let's think about, let's recognize that just because we have differences in business with our clients, with our employees, with our teams, in our marriages, any relationship, frankly, just because there's differences doesn't mean that they're irreconcilable or that we can't live an effective life, have an effective relationship, and have an effective business partnership with those irreconcilable differences. We can. It just requires you and I to synergize, to look for third alternatives that are win-win, right? And look for the greater good. Look for a higher vision or a higher purpose or a higher mission that will bind us together to help us work together collaboratively. So that's my invitation today. Again, I'm kind of on this Stephen Covey kick, and a couple of amazing principles that I got out of some of his audio recordings, a panel that he was a part of this morning as I was exercising, that I wanted to share with you. So I am recommitted this morning on this Thursday to look for third alternatives. If either option A or option B requires significant compromise and it's not really a good win-win either way, I'm recommitting myself to looking for third alternatives or third options, things like that will become a win-win. That'll take the very best of them, the very best of me, working together to create something that's better than better together. And also just recognizing that and valuing differences. Just because there are differences in my marriage or in the client partnership or with a team, just because there's differences in our relationships doesn't mean that they're irreconcilable, doesn't mean that they're disastrous and destined to fail. We can live and operate successfully on irreconcilable differences if we'll have that level of emotional and mental maturity to do those things. So anyway, love those principles. Wanted to share those with you on this Thursday morning. Hope you are doing well in your business as a trailblazer, carving out new paths, reaching your goals, reaching your destinations. And anyway, great to be with you this morning. Keep up the good work. Can't wait to be back with you once again on Traveling with Terry each morning. And take care. Hope you have a great day. See you. Hey, thanks for watching. Did you know every company out there has what we call digital marketing blind spots? These are simple, hidden opportunities for growing and improving your marketing that most of the time people miss. Go to www.arcanemarketing.com and take advantage of our Rise and Ignite digital marketing analysis. It's 100% free to get fresh new insights and ideas to make what you're already doing that much better in 2021.